Trend and Dropbox Business webinar. My name is Arun Wadvani. I'm the Cloud Vendor Manager for Dropbox. Also with me on the session is our Product Manager for Trend Micro, that's Ali Bilal. For those of you that are joined today, thank you very much for coming along to this webinar, and hopefully you'll get a lot from it. What we're going to be covering off today is we're going to have speakers from Trend Micro and from Dropbox. We're going to have Mahendra Dittal. I think we need to maybe mute the line. Okay, thank you. So I just want to make sure everybody can hear me okay. Judging from that sort of feedback, I think the sound's working fairly well, which is good news. So we're going to just quickly on the agenda for today, we're going to just quickly run through an overview from Mahendra Dal around Trend Micro and cloud app security, and really how Trend look after the security for the application, modern applications such as Office 365 and Dropbox. That'll go for about 20 minutes or so. Then we'll be followed by a further presentation from Ewan Reid from Dropbox, who's the distribution manager, and he'll be able to tie in obviously how Dropbox works nicely with the cloud app security piece from Trend. And if you can save your questions please towards the end. Through the presentation, of course, you're welcome to send the questions through the chat facility, and we'll be running the Q&A session at the end of the second presentation. Okay, so very quickly, I'd like to introduce Mahendra. Mahendra has over 10 years experience in the IT industry, mainly focused around security systems and engineering. He's had deep industry experience in sectors such as mining, resources, telecommunications, federal and state government. He's a pre-sales specialist at Trend and is very sort of focused on supporting the sales team around responding to tenders, proof of concepts, working around deployments and other solutions. So welcome aboard, Mahendra. I hope you can hear me okay.
Yes, thank you, Arun. Yeah, absolutely, I can hear you well. Awesome, thank you.
Over to you. Thank you so much.
Fantastic. Morning, everyone. So, like Arun mentioned to you guys, I will be covering cloud app security, which is Trend Micro's solution to protect your cloud applications such as your Office 365, OneDrive, and SharePoint, and Google Drive, things like those. I will be talking about what the solution does, what's the endpoint that customer has these days around those applications. So let's kick it off. Arun, can we have next slide, please? Okay. So I will be covering the user protection. On this slide is basically telling you about or showing you what sort of solution Trend Micro has. Obviously, we have three sort of solution sets to cover different areas. User protection is around protecting the user or user devices and user activities. And hybrid cloud security is more around protecting your servers, protecting your physical virtual cloud servers wherever they are, and the network defense piece is looking at protecting your network, so giving you the visibility across what's happening, and looking at the traffic and analyzing all that stuff. So it's all connected. Any product from one set can talk to the other. But for today, we'll be talking about the user protection side, and the product would be cloud app security. Next slide, please. Okay. In this slide, few slides, I have some information around the current challenges that customers are facing. So there are a number of challenges that we see. The main one is the phishing. So it is basically targeting from any small business to the enterprise. So there are a number of attacks that happens. Some targeted attacks, some relevant. If you keep going with the clicks around, they are yeah. Thank you. So yeah, obviously there are a few other than phishing. Targeted attacks is main targeting a lot of organizations these days. Compliance is also a challenge. You want to make sure any document that you put it in those cloud storages, you want to make sure that it doesn't get used unnecessarily. You want to see who's using them. And also advanced threat is also targeting these days, and everybody knows about ransomware and a lot of those coming in via email. The last one in the list is the cloud storages, concern around the cloud storages, and everyone will be talking about Dropbox. But yeah, I have Trend Micro's solution covers Dropbox as well as other cloud applications. So we'll be talking about those today in a bit. So can we have next slide, please? And this is what we have seen in terms of the ransomware, and it is targeting a lot of businesses, and obviously these guys making a lot of money, so it's not going to go away anytime soon. So we got to have measures around to protect our environment. So either it is sitting within your data center, or sitting within your Office 365 perhaps. So yeah, that's the stuff that we have seen. Can we go to the next slide, please? One of the other challenges that we have also seen is the CEO fraud. So someone is pretending that this person is the CEO and requesting a finance guy to transfer a certain amount. That has been quite a challenge, because it seems like it's coming from that individual, and this person is basically transferring their money, and it's going into the criminal's account. Can we have a few more flicks, please, Arun?
Yeah. Okay. Keep going.
Yep. Also, the other area we have seen is compromising individuals' account or the staff's account, and basically creating new account to transfer the money. So supplier swindle, something we like to call it. So this is also has been in the rise, and a lot of the companies become victim of these activities. And also account compromise. We have seen that many times. User receives a phishing email, and he clicks on that email, and all of a sudden his account is compromised, and and then criminals can do quite a bit in there. So these are the challenges. Can we have next slide, please? Next slide. Yeah. This is some of the countries that has been affected. The example of, yeah, we can go to the next slide, that's fine. This is an example of the CEO fraud. I'm sure most of you have seen it. It looks exactly like someone in that position, sending email to the staff, just few lines. There is no attachments, there are no links, anything like that. So it's hard to find. Or hard to detect it by any email filtering solution. Can we go to next slide, please? Exactly what I just said. So we can go to the next slide. This one is talking about what happens if someone gets internally, somebody's account internally has been hacked, and anything that goes out from that internal user. Your email gateway email solution might not be able to cover that. So you should be able to see what's going internally as well, to be able to determine these types of activities. So we'll tie this back to the solution in a minute. How is that going to help organizations to help attacks like this? Next slide, please. This is also what we've seen recently is around the behavior is being changed. So there is few slides, few clicks on it, Arun.
Keep going.
What we've seen is user these days generally sharing information using sharing files using cloud storage is one. It's easy to do. Two, it's you might have large documents that your email attachment might not work. So in this situation, the example here is someone's opening an email. That email has attachments, and now this person can attach any or save anything onto OneDrive. In this example, your email gateway doesn't even see this happening. So chances are that particular attachment is malicious, and you don't have sort of filtering to check it. So this is another challenge we've seen out there in the businesses these days. So can we go to the next slide, Arun, please? This is just showing you the malware's also been very advanced these days. So your general malware scanning can sort of cope with that because they have document exploits, for example. So your general spam might not be able to detect it, and in most of the scenarios, it's coming. It's going to those storages or your Office 365 from devices such as your mobile phone. Not necessarily you would have security on them to scan it. So it's totally bypassing the email gateway solution, which might be able to scan these type of documents. So let's go to the next slide. And well, those are the challenges that we see, and Trend Micro has a product which is called Cloud App Security, designed around the challenges to cover the challenges to help prevent these from happening. So it has a wider scope. Obviously, it looks at protecting your Office 365, the whole of Office 365 account, either you're using email, OneDrive, or SharePoint. On the storage side, you can use this for Dropbox, Google Drive, or Box. It is API driven, so you don't have to change anything in your NX record or anything like that. So it's connected through to these accounts using APIs. So no changes required. It just sits on top of those products, and it does scanning. So it looks at the 0-day exploit. It also covers DLP discovery, visibility on someone is sending those documents to their personal email or whatever the case is. So it's quite easy to deploy. If you go to the next slide, Arun. So some of the key things that this solution covers using some of the techniques like pre-execution machine learning. So predicts the file. There is algorithm to see how probable the file is being malicious. So it basically improves the detection for the 0-day type of exploits these days. Document exploit detection is another one, because that could be embedded into the PDF file, your Word document, your Excel, and this scanning engine detects those to better detect any exploits sitting on those type of documents. Sandbox analysis is another one. It's quite a key these days, because all of these 0-day, you wouldn't know. Some of these you just wouldn't know what it does until you actually run it. So as per the pre-execution machine learning or any other scanning engine, it flags. And anything that gets flagged, then we do send it to the sandbox to do the proper analysis. And based on the analysis, we can then either allow or block those type of documents. Can we go to the next slide, please, Arun? All right, so this is pretty much covering what I just said. So yeah, it is for not just one platform. It covers quite a bit, and it basically assures that any document that you have on any of these platforms are secure. Next slide, please. Some of the gateway type of filtering having challenges around internal mail frauds or anything that happens internally within the organizations. So this one can detect anything internally as well as anything coming in or going out. So it is going to be better off having this visibility within your organization as well. Next slide, please. DLP is another one, data loss prevention. You want to know if you have certain documents, company secret information or anything that you wanna keep it away from your vendors, whatever the case may be. If you have those type of documents, then this solution can actually monitor every time if someone uploads those type of documents or downloads it off those storages, and also anything that goes by email as well. There are about 200 or so built-in templates. You can create your own. This is done by either the attributes of the file or content within the file. Anything can be created as a key, such as credit card numbers can be a key identifier. So then every document that has the credit card numbers, then it's gonna detect it and it's gonna quarantine it based on the policy. Next slide, please. So there is a click on this as well, Arun. This is just showing you, it's a direct cloud-to-cloud connector using vendor APIs. No impact on the user side or admin. You don't have to change anything such as sending MX records or anything like that. It doesn't require any of that. It's fully automated, and yeah, it's quite easy to use. Next slide, please. So the architecture-wise, the way this solution works is every time anything that goes to any of these platforms, the API will notify Cloud App Security. Cloud App Security then will scan those files or emails, whatever it is. So it is run within our data centers within Azure. For the solution, and there's also sandbox analysis happens for those unknown type of threats, and it's done in Trend Micro's data centers. And if you look at it from the percentage perspective, I think it's less than 2% of those files will go to the sandbox, so it doesn't really impact the everyday use or everyday documents. It's only if the document is malicious. Then it's going to trigger that sandbox analysis. Next slide, Arun, please. So this is what in a picture. So I'm sure vendors like Office 365, Dropbox have security around it, which is great. So what we do here is looking at advanced threats. So any threats that generally doesn't get detected by signatures. So when we have to use machine learning, when you have to do the sandbox analysis. So that's what we're doing. So if you look at it on the picture, the password checking it's first stage of scanning, I guess. So then we actually put that through to the X-ray to see what's inside, and if anything that's malicious in there, we can then crack it open and see what it does. So that's the holistic view of the solution. Next slide, please. Okay, so this is summary, and it basically tells you why Trend Micro. Obviously, we've been in this game for a very long time. We have experience on security for quite some time, and we have technologies around to look at advanced threats, the 0-day type of threats, and yeah, it's obviously pretty easy to use. It doesn't require any changes as such, but it adds the security on top of what the vendors like Dropbox and Office 365 is offering. I think this is the last slide from my side, guys. We'll take some questions. Any questions, if you want to ask, send them through to the chat, and towards the end, we'll try and answer those for you. Okay.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Mahendra.
Right, thank you.
So,
cheers.
Just as Mahendra has just said, feel free to send any questions you have through the chat box, and then we'll obviously be looking to answer those after the presentation we have from Dropbox. So I'd like to introduce Ewan Reid. Ewan is the distribution manager for Australia and New Zealand for Dropbox, and he also is the partner account manager in New Zealand, based in Sydney. Ewan is an industry veteran. He's been with leading firms, obviously prior to Dropbox, like LG. We like Ewan, he's worked at Ingram Micro as well. He worked at IBM, and previously to that, he actually worked for Canon. So Ewan's got a lot of experience in the industry, and it gives him a great opportunity now to share some of his knowledge and experience, talking about the collaboration piece that links nicely, obviously with Trend Micro and now Office 365, and really where Dropbox fits into the picture in that overall opportunity. So Ewan, are you there?
I am, Arun. Thank you very much.
Fantastic.
Welcome everyone, and thank you for attending the webinar. So as Arun's mentioned, my name's Ewan Reid, and I'm one of the partner managers that are here to help you at Dropbox. And whether you're an MSP or a reseller who's promoting cloud offerings, you'll love what we've got to offer at Dropbox. Our friends at Trend, they offer world-class security that really complements our online collaboration solutions that Dropbox offers. And it really goes hand in hand, and that's why we chose to participate and present to you jointly today on this webinar. Next slide, please. A lot of information, but really what I wanted to cover off here is that Dropbox is really a simple, intuitive solution that keeps your office workers, and whether you have on-site teams that collaborate with suppliers and clients, and it gives you seamless access to all your documents, no matter where you are, what device you're on, and it's really got some very powerful administration tools, so that your IT department can stay on top of their teams, provide the right level of access, and ensure that your IP stays within your company. Now, from a security point of view, Dropbox offers your clients the ability to roll back their data from any point if you're hit by ransomware or crypto locker events. Now, that gets you back to work quicker and without paying any of those nasty ransoms that come along with those type of viruses or malware. In fact, we had a customer last week that had over 40 seats, and it just took 3 hours to get the client back online. So that's quite amazing in the scheme of things when you think about how much data people have nowadays, that they can be back up and running within 3 hours. From an integration point of view, we've worked with over 30,000 different developers, providing you with seamless integration across Microsoft, Google, Autodesk, Adobe, plus much, much more applications. So don't just think that Dropbox, by themselves. We integrate into so many solutions that you'll be amazed at the benefits of our application. Next slide, please. It's a nice simple one. Why do anything? And we'll click again. So let's talk about Australia. So over 60% of the population in Australia use Dropbox, and that's why we have an office in Australia. So people who have consumer accounts, guess what? They end up using it at their workplace because it works, and it's typically seen as shadow IT. There are over 10,000 businesses to date in Australia that use Dropbox to collaborate and share, and that number grows every week as we sell more and more products through the channel. So as a reseller, you can enjoy some great recurring margins as well, 20% upfront, and then yearly renewals. There's a major opportunity in here to make money from the services and the deployment and from support. And combine this with what Trend have to offer in terms of from their security aspect, it's a really good play for you guys as resellers. We're growing exponentially. Next slide. So why Dropbox? So content today is really siloed. So there's cloud storage pretty much from every vendor. You've got file servers traditionally on premise, and you've got personal drives on your laptops, tablets, phones. In fact, 60% of staff's time is spent trying to find the latest version of files rather than working on it. And from a team's perspective, we're bridging the gap between internal and external clients and suppliers, making you more productive, collaborating more efficiently to get the jobs done. This drives more of the innovation whilst ensuring that your business can keep control of the most important information, which ultimately is your data and your IP. Next slide, please. I'll get you to click one more time, please, Arun. Now, a lot of people have Dropbox consumer accounts. So, what is the reason why you would pay? Well, it's important to note here that many people use our consumer versions of Dropbox, which are either your personal or pro accounts. And these are designed for individuals. And you don't get to harness the real powerful tools that are available in Dropbox Business. And we're bringing the teams together and give you an environment where you can work together more efficiently and faster. And you'll be surprised to know that customers who deploy Dropbox Business often find that their projects that they're working on move 3 to 5 times faster through collaboration. Next slide, please. So Dropbox scales. So we have our consumer products, which are our personal basic accounts and our professional accounts, right through to Dropbox Business, which comes in a standard or advanced edition. And we also have enterprise, and we can offer non-for-profit and educational pricing as well on all of our products. Next slide. At the heart of Dropbox, as you would expect, is all about security. And we have customers in the banking industry, right through to our financial industries that are highly regulated, governments, and then right down to your businesses that could be 3 to 5 employees. So we scale right across the industry. The most important thing is that we keep your data safe. And to do this, we have a number of compliance and certifications, but we have some of the industry's most best security practice managers working at Dropbox to ensure that we encrypt and break apart your data so that nothing is at risk. To do this, we have encryption, and we use some very proprietary tools that actually separate your metadata from your traditional data and store them in separate data centers. That way, you've got the peace of mind of knowing that your data is safe at Dropbox. Next slide. what I wanted to do today is really just cover off one of the cool features that have been introduced into Dropbox, which is called Smart Sync. And as you can see by the little animation on the right-hand side, Smart Sync is giving you the ability to have access to all your files, whether in the cloud or locally stored on your machine. It's just one click away and you can download a file and start working on it. And once you've downloaded it, you can then sync that file between the cloud and your machine at any time. And this is really being embraced by mobile and remote users accessing their files. And it also reduces the need for having high capacity machines or tablets or mobile phones. You can reduce the amount of storage size that you need in devices, because it actually works to reduce and monitor how much storage space you have on your local devices. Next slide. So what should I do? So if you're not currently a Dropbox reseller, my first port of call would be to go to dropboxpartners.com, which is a new website, and you can sign up to become a Dropbox reseller. From there, you get a Dropbox ID, which you can take to Ingram Micro, and they can help you then put the details into your cloud marketplace account. We also have an online portal that has some great sales tools and training, which will help you not only pitch Dropbox, but promote it and train up your internal staff so they can either represent Dropbox from a sales, technical, or admin type perspective. And we do have a little incentive on the go at the moment. For every 5 seats of Dropbox Standard, there are $50 Visa cards. And if you sell Dropbox Advanced, there are $100 Visa cards on offer. Next slide. So we've done a great job, I think, in terms of training Ingram Micro. The cloud team within Ingram Micro have done a lot of in-depth training, not just on the sales aspect, but also the technical and how to deploy Dropbox. So they really are your friends in terms of helping you and assisting you with not just the sale, but first level of support with any type of Dropbox inquiries. You can also reach out to our team, either myself or Brock Fisher or Elizabeth Couch, who run either the northern region or the southern region respectively. We really are here to help you, whether you want to just have a quick conversation regarding a client, or you'd like us to help you put together a solution and present it to a potential client of yours. We're here to help. So with that, that's all the questions that I have. If anybody does at the end of the seminar, please either type your question into the webinar box, or you can ask them at the end. Thanks, Arun.
Okay, thank you, Ewan. Okay, so Ali, I don't know if we've got you on the line. Do we have any questions that have popped up over the last couple of presentations?
Yes, I think the first question is for Mahindra. So one of our users, he's asking about Trend Micro application security worry-free. Is it part of the worry-free service or a totally separate product?
It is a separate product. However, it is part of the bundle offerings with worry-free. We have Brian on the call. He's from the sales side. Brian, do you want to cover that off?
Yeah, absolutely. Mahindra, can you hear me there? Guys, can you hear me well?
Yeah, perfectly.
Excellent, excellent. So first and foremost, thank you so much for Ingram Micro for organizing this webinar, and thank you to all the attendees. The Cloud App Security solution that Mahindra was talking about, it is a solution that can be sold as a standalone. So it can work in conjunction to any other security platform that you might be running or solution that you might be running. But to answer the question in more detail, yes, it is a part of the Worry-Free Security Services Advanced solution. So the Worry-Free family as a whole, you might be familiar, it does come in 3 different offering options, which is the Worry-Free Standard, the Advanced, and the Professional. The Standard will purely offer you the endpoint security aspect, Advanced offering the endpoint with cloud application security and hosted email security, which will also monitor those inbound and outbound emails. And then finally, the Professional, which will also include cloud app security, endpoint security, hosted email, and then finally Interscan web security for any web-based interactions wanting to basically block anything there. So to answer that question, it is available with any Worry-Free Services Advanced or Professional solution there. Any other questions, Ali?
Oh, all right, thank you, Brian. No, we've got a couple of more questions, but I guess they're more on the Dropbox side. So a question for Ewan, sorry.
Oh.
What's the advantage of Dropbox over using OneDrive or SharePoint that business already have with their Office 365 subscriptions?
Absolutely, and that's a great question. So thank you to the person who asked. So look, Dropbox is all around collaboration. That's what we do 100%. And while Microsoft, if you take a subscription of Office 365, then you get OneDrive and SharePoint bundled in. However, it does have some limitations. And I'm happy if the person who asked the question would like to sit down and have a look at a few slides, one-to-one, that I can run them through. But the main points I would like to make is that when customers have deployed OneDrive as their chosen solution, the main challenge they have is user adoption. And that means training them how to use it and when to use SharePoint to do their external collaboration. When using Dropbox, because we have over 60% of Australians already using our product either in a personal or maybe a business capacity, then they already have the skills to be able to do the collaboration and the sharing. The other advantage we have is that we are not vendor, well, we are vendor agnostic. So Microsoft does a great job of being able to work on the Microsoft applications and sharing amongst those. But then as soon as you step outside and look at Adobe, Autodesk, things start to break down a little bit more. So our collaboration with over 30,000 different app providers gives us an advantage because it's just one product to share everything and it's done seamlessly. So I hope that answers the question, and I'm more than happy for the person who asked to reach out and we can go into it in more detail.
Thanks, Ewan. I'm just going through the questions now. Can you change the Dropbox subscription from the one that was done on the website to a reseller-based account?
Yeah, and this is a great feature for resellers. So just in the past 2 months, Dropbox has given the ability for resellers to convert what we call direct orders into channel orders. The one thing or the prerequisite for this is that we must get an upsell. So if there is currently 5 paid subscriptions on the direct, and provided that the reseller is able to upsell them a minimum of 1 license, then they can convert that across into a channel play. The advantage of that as well is that we start the subscription again, and the reseller makes 20% margin from day one, which is fantastic news for them, you know, getting instant reward for their order. If you'd like further details on that, just reach out to one of the Dropbox partner account managers, or Alternatively, Ingram Micro Cloud team, they've all been skilled up on how to do those direct-to-channel migrations.
Thank you. Next question again, I guess that's around data integrity. Who owns the data that's stored in Dropbox online application?
The customer. So there are, as your data is yours, while using the subscription at Dropbox, you have complete control over your data. So there are very few instances, and that would require a Supreme Court coming to Dropbox and for access to data. So, and you can find out more about this if you go to dropbox.com/security or privacy. They both go to the same pages, but this is, you know, at the heart of one of the principles of Dropbox's the heart of Dropbox is that data is yours, and the integrity is that we honor and secure your data and it is yours.
Thank you. And the last question, I guess that's for Brian again from Trend Micro. Are there any promos for the partners to sell this product, the Cloud Act product?
Yeah, absolutely, Ali. We obviously have a pretty good channel partner program that we offer here at Trend Micro. Not only do we offer our partners the revenue margins, as we always would, we also have a program in place that we call a Trendsetter program. Now, this Trendsetter program is basically designed to reward our partners for their efforts and for selling Trend Micro. So what we do there is when a reseller or when a Trend Micro partner sells one of our solutions, we want to reward them by offering them some monetary investment on a Visa card for the amount of licenses that they've sold. So for an example, if a reseller was to sell the Worry-Free Services Advanced product, which does include Cloud App Security, they were to sell this for an instance, a multi-year sale, they would be getting $2 per every license that they sell on top of their standard revenue margin. So this is just a bit of an incentive to help push some sales across the line and to help reward our partners, especially now approaching the whole Christmas period. We can definitely assist you and making sure we can have a good end to the year. Well, one of the key things, Ali, as well, if I can just point out here, one of the key reasons that we see people investing in Cloud App Security or investing in our solutions as a whole is the fact that everything is migrating towards a cloud-based platform. So people are using the likes of Dropbox because they are offering a phenomenal alternative to storage. What a lot of people do tell us, however, is that they are slightly skeptical with how secure or what visibility they can have on these platforms. So we want to make sure that we can work alongside our friends at Dropbox. So we give people the ability to have that simplicity and the ability to view and access their files from a remote location. And what we can do for you is make sure that you have that security aspect covered and you can continue working without any issues, without any obligations. So that's what I'll add, Ali. If there's any other questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Sure. Thanks, Brian. Ewan, I guess it's a continuation of the last question that I asked you about data integrity. I guess the next question is, again, on data storage, where's the data stored and which laws govern in relation to the data sovereignty?
Okay, so Dropbox actually moved away from using a third-party data center provider around about 2 years ago, which has been a completely seamless exercise. From the end user perspective, they didn't notice any difference. All of the Dropbox data centers are actually our own, and they are all placed in the US. However, we do have access also to a data center in the EU that is provided for special customers who want to ensure that their data is not governed by the US international or the US laws. So there is flexibility depending on the size of the organization to where your data is stored. However, I'm more than happy to have an individual conversation with the reseller who's asking the question and give them some peace of mind about how we treat your data in any subsequent, situation where there might be a Supreme Court or anything like that that is asked for access to accounts. It's no different, guys, to all the data center operators. However, we do not have a local data center here in Australia or New Zealand.
Okay. So yeah, I guess, do we have any plans to have data centers in Australia, Ewan? That's the next question.
Yeah. Look, I'd love to be able to comment on that, but unfortunately I'm not allowed to. If the reseller wants to reach out and we can have that conversation one-to-one and discuss their requirements. Bear in mind that we do have a lot of government, financial sector type customers on board that are using Dropbox successfully and within the realms of government regulations for using cloud infrastructure already. So we'll probably be able to answer the concerns of the reseller better in a one-to-one environment.
Sure, we can certainly arrange that for you. So yeah, that's all from the question side. Arun, back to you.
Okay, excellent. Well, thank you so much. I think that's the end of the presentation. So again, thank you very much to Mahindra and Brian from obviously Trend Micro, and Ewan Reid from Dropbox. Certainly, if you have any further questions, you can feel free to contact the cloud sales team at Ingram Micro, and we'll obviously put you in touch with who we need to answer those questions. But thank you again for joining us on this very interesting topic around cloud security and obviously collaboration with Dropbox. And thank you again for joining us. That's the end of the session.